Good morning, everyone. I know you might not recognize me. It's winter, so I had to grow the beard out. So I am in the middle of teaching my unit. The unit that I taught is exploring the metric system and EM spectrum through base 10 numeration. And so the whole purpose is I'm a physics teacher. I deal with lots of numbers, and my students struggle with contextualizing those numbers. And so when I had an opportunity to work with Roger again, I wanted to explore the unit system specifically and what that entails in the scientific process. The unit is a 3 to 4 week unit, but it kind of is laced within the whole year where we're dealing with numbers and we're trying to make understanding of data. For the first 2 weeks, I had my students basically measure a lot of different objects, but I assigned groups based on different unit systems. And we tried to compare, so whose is right, whose is wrong. This just was a nice, easy segue into understanding what numbers actually mean, and then contextualizing what the limits of those numbers are. The 3 to 4 week unit is mostly going to be happening in the third advisory, but I can give you some feedback on what my students liked and didn't like. One, they like the hands-on activities. One of the great things about the process here is that you're able to dive deep into inquiry activities and test them, ask teachers, bounce ideas off of teachers about what will work, what won't work, based on their own experience. Second, they enjoyed the exploration of not me telling them what the answer was, but them discovering it themselves. Sometimes they went off and veered off, but as teachers, we have to corral them a little bit. The other thing that we focused on was the idea of accuracy and precision. So as we have numbers, what do those numbers mean when we're saying the table is 10 meters long? Is it 10 meters long? How close or how accurate are you based on what you're using? And then the other thing that we started to do was we started to talk about logarithmic and exponential scales in preparing for and now analyzing the electromagnetic spectrum. I'm very grateful for Roger's guidance. I know everyone that's worked with him in the past has had lots of edits because he's very particular about how things are phrased, but that strengthens our own units because we have to think deeply through the content, and then we're better prepared to deliver it in the end. The other thing that I was asked to address are the standards. So the nice thing about this unit is that it encompasses a number of standards. The primary focus is basically wave properties. We have the NGSS in the DC area. So we have wave properties and the electromagnetic radiation as our core ideas. Causal and effect relationships are also central to the unit. And then asking questions and defining problems are another key component to the unit as well. And the whole idea of this unit, in a nutshell, was for students to get an understanding of scale. So base 10 is our unit, and we have to understand scale, both the small and the macro, and physics explores quantum to universal level scale. And so you have to be able to navigate that whole spectrum of tiny to large. And so big numbers and small numbers was a perfect fit for me to kind of delve into that arena. In conclusion, as an educator, my job is to provide rigor for the kids, but it's also to allow a spark of curiosity. And so often what I see in high school is that students have lost that spark of curiosity. They're taught something, they memorize it, and then they regurgitate it out. And in science, it's so critical that students have that spark of curiosity so that we are not the ones facilitating learning, they can facilitate it themselves. And this is the process, like Y&I has allowed us to come up with strategies to cultivate that curiosity, which as teachers, we don't have time for throughout the year. We're just trying to react. Everything's reactionary throughout the year. So having a process where we can actually sit down, think thoroughly, what is our main objective for the year? What are we trying to accomplish? What was that one goal that we sought out for our students is really a key asset. And I can't thank Jim enough for designing this process and allowing us to delve deep into the content. So thank you guys very much.